Morning, everyone. Call the
Morning.
commission meeting to order. First item is a consent agenda. We have two items, the secretary's report and the treasurer's report. Any additions or corrections to either one of those? If not, would entertain a motion to approve both.
Norris, motion to approve.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Roger, second.
And there's a second. Now, are you doing roll call vote, Mike?
Yes,
On this?
yes.
Okay.
Wendy?
Daryl Spanis. Daryl, I can't hear you.
Aye, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yep.
now I can hear you. Hassett. Palmer.
How's it, Parma? Are you there? All right, Wendy, keep going.
Ann Norris.
Yes.
Therese Kaiser.
Yes.
Kimberly Sandberg.
Yes.
Roger Bergman.
Yes.
Al Mattson.
Yes.
Bill Leaf.
Aye.
Kirk McDonald.
Yes.
Riley Grams.
Aye.
Emily Kastner.
Yep.
Bill Blonigan.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
I have a
Next
quick
item.
question before we go forward. Are we supposed to read that thing about the doing a Zoom meeting?
I'll leave,
have
Bill
to.
or,
Mr. Bradley or Bill?
yeah,
No, you're fine. You noticed it. It's in the
Okay.
packet.
perfect. Thank you. And thank you,
Okay.
Wendy, for asking.
All right. Next item, action items, the consideration of the 2022 budget. Mr. Johnson?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we went through the budget. We did a budget presentation at our September 16th meeting. And in addition, we had an executive session and budget committee session that followed that meeting. And we basically discussed the budget. We also reviewed the compensation structure. Some of the members felt that going forward sometime in for the 2023 year, that we do more merit-based type increases for employees rather than just automatic. So we will we'll be developing a system for that into next year. The committee unanimously recommended the budget, and so we're just seeking approval now from the full Cable Commission. Will also seek approval, of course, at the board meeting as well.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or concerns about that item? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve. But I hear somebody say something?
I coughed, but since I was on the budget committee, this is Norris, I'd recommend, move approval.
I'll second Riley Grams.
Motion's been made and seconded. Wendy, roll call.
Daryl Spanis.
Aye.
Hassett Palmer. I don't think its audio is working. Ann Norris.
Aye.
Therese Kaiser.
Aye.
Kimberly Sandberg.
Aye.
Roger Bergman.
Aye.
Al Mattson.
Aye.
Bill Leaf.
Aye.
Kirk McDonald.
Aye.
Riley Grams.
Aye.
Emily Kastner.
Aye.
Bill Blonigan.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We are set for 2022. Next one, presentation of the investment report. Mr. Miller.
Thank
There you
Mr.
go, Mark.
Chair.
Mark with
Thank
us?
you, Mr. Chair. Good morning,
Yes.
everyone. My name is Mark Miller, and just wanted to update regarding the investments. Oh, there we go. And one thing, as you probably well know, right now, our main concern is watching inflation and interest rates, and making sure that as time goes forward here in the upcoming 2022, that your portfolio is monitored and possibly adjusted based on what's happening at the Fed. One thing that I did real quickly is I ran a risk assessment of the portfolio, and very similar to if you have everyone has a sleep number, everyone has a risk number. And on a scale of 0 to 100, where the S&P 500 would be considered a risk of 78 to 80, and the portfolio as it stands had a risk number of 12, which is great. And then one thing I just wanted to jump to and highlight is this program does a stress test for different economic conditions to see how your portfolio would respond. And here we go. Okay. And so, so what this shows is if we had a 2013 like bull market, of course, comparing to the S&P 500, January 2013 to December 2013, where the market was up, substantially, this portfolio, of course, would be positive. If a 2008 like bear market happened, where between January, the year 2008, the market was minus 36%, your portfolio would be expected to basically break even and stay positive. If we had a financial crisis such as 2007 to March 09, where the market was minus 53, the portfolio was still only negative 0.3%, so pretty much break even. And then, of course, the main thing we're concerned about up and coming is interest rate increases. And if the interest rates were increased by 134 basis points or 1.34%, even though the bond index would go down about 5%, your portfolio would again still be in the positive range. So I was very, very happy to see that. Paul has certainly done a great job keeping your portfolio very, very stable. And so again, as far as the economic outlook, what our LPL research is concerned about, of course, is monitoring inflation, and of course, right now, part of the inflation is due to supply chain issues, but of course, that will hopefully eventually get fixed, and then when we have the true inflation, then we'll start to see some interest rate increases, and so as time goes on, we want to make sure that we adjust the portfolio to stay kind of go where the puck is going, and make sure that we keep the portfolio stabilized, and then the one good thing about increasing interest rates is that as you have a CD that comes due next year and one the following year, of course those rates were, I believe, locked in at about 3%. Right now that's a little challenging, but hopefully by the time those CDs renew, then there should be some good options to renew at some higher rates in the future. So so that's just kind of a quick overview. Again, kind of filling in for Paul today, and so not sure if I covered everything that you're looking at. I know you do have a copy of the statements, but any other questions that I can answer for anyone.
Any questions for Mr. Miller?
Mr. Chair, I want to thank Mr. Miller for these wonderful graphs and these stress tests. We haven't had that capability before, and I was just really impressed with the analysis that he is giving the commission. Between him and Paul going forward, I think we're going to have a better, they always say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and I think, Mark, what you just displayed speaks volumes and much easier to understand. We're not all, none of us want to say we're like financial experts in any stretch of the imagination. So we really do appreciate your insight into this. So that's kind of like my 2 cents.
No, I agree completely. Pictures are much better.
Yes. Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other comments? If not, do we need a motion to accept that report?
Mr. Chair, I think we should to make it official since we have a pretty large amount of funds in that account.
Okay, would entertain a motion to that effect.
So moved, Riley Grahams. Second, Bill.
Motion's been made and seconded. Wendy?
Okay. Daryl Sanis,
Aye.
Hasit Parmar,
Aye.
Ann Norris,
Aye.
Therese Kaiser,
Aye.
Kimberly Sandberg,
Aye.
Roger Bergman,
Aye.
Al Matson,
Yes.
Bill Leaf,
Aye.
Kirk McDonald,
Aye.
Mark Schultz,
Aye.
Riley Grams.
Aye.
Jim Willis,
Aye.
Bill Blonigan.
Yes.
Okay, motion's been made, second and approved. All right. Into
Wendy, you
the,
didn't call, Wendy, you didn't call my name, but aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, Emily.
That's
I
okay.
apologize.
all right. Moving into the information items, we have several of them. Mr. Cable, communities update.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we're, as always, we're honored to have Mike as our attorney here. He is well-known nationally and just happens to be based here. And so we won the lottery on his legal advice and having him as our counsel. So there's a lot going on. I'm not going to take any more time. I'm going to turn it over to Mike and give us an update.
Well, thank you for that, Mike. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the opportunity to work for all of you. Good morning, everybody. It's time for your favorite part
Morning,
of
Mike.
the show. It's the legal report. Your legal report is in your packet. And, you know, we put that legal report together right at the beginning of the month. And, you know, the top item there is the appeal to the United States Supreme Court of the City of Eugene matter. You are a party to that matter that was litigated before the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals. And a group of local governments did petition the United States Supreme Court for writ of certiorari. And we had the opportunity as respondents in that matter to submit a brief in support of the petition, or to let the Supreme Court know that we support the granting of the petition for the reasons set forth in the petition, and then let them know that we wouldn't be filing a brief. And so that's what we did on your behalf and our other local government clients' behalf that participated in the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals matter. So or just 2 days ago on Tuesday, I did file a letter and waiver with the United States Supreme Court. Others will likely do something similar. I'm assuming that that the interveners on behalf of the cable industry will, you know, file an objection to the petition if they're allowed to. Then the Supreme Court takes it under advisement and will decide if it's going to even take the case. So that is expected to happen sometime first quarter of 2022. And if the court decides to take up the case, then we'll actually have the opportunity to submit a brief in support of the appeal. And we'll take a look at that if and when that happens. So that's our update for the City of Eugene matter. The other you know, two items of note really in our report, also on the first page of our report, is that President Biden has nominated Commissioner Rosenworcel as FCC chair, and then also appointed Gigi Song as the fifth commissioner on the FCC. So we'll finally have a full slate of commissioners at the FCC, assuming that Rosenworcel is confirmed, and that has to be done before the end of the year. And they started hearings yesterday. And then finally, there was this other decision going on in the court system, and this one was in the First Circuit Court of Appeals related to Maine legislation that was passed a couple of years ago. It's of interest because it related to PEG television and build out to rural areas, and the Maine law was upheld on at all levels of the litigation process. So it was upheld at the United States District Court, and then just recently at the First Circuit Court of Appeals. The time to appeal that to the Supreme Court was also November 1st, just like the Sixth Circuit case. And there was no appeal filed. So that that case is completed now. And with that, I think I'll open up any questions. As always, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions from any commission members?
I have one.
Bill?
So not that I'm skeptical, but you noted that the FCC chair Rosenworcel was now nominated. And I know these commissioners just go on the facts and the law when they make determinations, but now has there been a split changing from 3 Republicans and 2 Democrats over to 3 Democrats and 2 Republicans?
Right, with the Biden administration now in control, the balance switched from 3 Republicans down to 3 Democrats. So it's 3-2 Democratic appointed commissioners, correct?
And does that have, say that people did vote along party lines, I know that's extremely rare, but if they did that, does that have any effect on our claim that you can't deduct the value of free services from what we get in revenue from the cable company, or is it too late for that and that's now going in for appeal and that's what's going to happen?
Yeah, I don't think it's too late. Just so everybody knows, the city of Eugene case involved the appeal of an FCC order, and it was called the third report and order. And that decision was made on a 3-2 vote. So the 2 commissioners that voted against that order are the only 2 left at the FCC right now, I believe. So there is a possibility with some advocacy that some things could change there. The good news from the Sixth Circuit, though, and why it was so important for local governments like your commission to participate, was that the Sixth Circuit in part rejected the FCC's order, particularly on how much could be deducted from franchise fees. So it reversed the FCC's decision that the fair market value of non-cash franchise requirements could be deducted from franchise fees, and made it and ruled that only marginal costs could be reduced from franchise fees, which is a very, very significant change.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Bradley?
I have a question. Is there a way that we could just get like a very brief summary of what Mike just said in a couple sentences sent to us? I've been trying to take notes so that I can provide an accurate description to the city manager and deputy city manager, because Mike had sent out that request to cities to see if they wanted to join to lend their name to the petition. And I just can't come up with anything intelligent to accurately explain the case or what's going on. And I've read it and reread it and read it and reread it. So is that okay if we send out maybe just like a very brief summary of the case in plain language so that those of us who are not legalese can kind of understand it a little bit better?
We would be happy to do that, Mike. Can you, well, or what we could do, Mike, is take all the information that I had sent to the commission and the board, and maybe we could have like a I don't know, we call it watered down or simplified version that is maybe a little bit more understandable, because I hear what Emily is saying. I mean, I've been in this business for 40 years, and sometimes, certain phrases and words are maybe more difficult to grasp. So can we put that challenge upon you?
Yeah, no, I'm happy to. I'll work with you, Mike, and we'll put something together that,
Good idea.
yeah, that can work for everybody.
Thanks,
Thank
Emily.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much,
that
Mike and
request.
Mike.
Yes, you bet.
Anything
Right,
else?
Mike and Mike in the morning. That sounds good, Mike.
Well, maybe they can name a candy after us. We have one called Mike and Ike. So how about just Mike and Mike? So we'll
Mike and
figure it
Mike,
out.
yeah.
Thanks,
Anything
everybody.
else for Mr. Bradley? If not, we'll move down to communications. Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, and Mr. Chair, I'm not going to take a lot of time and go through all these things. I mean, there's quite a bit of information. I always throw in the Comcast report. As you know, Comcast is doing very, very, very well. And no matter what anybody says about, you know, the cable company or whatever, they obviously are definitely financially sound and have made a lot of good decisions in their history, from starting out as a small cable system in, I believe, the Philadelphia area, and then just growing to this big company that now owns much more than just cable TV properties. Like I
That's
said,
for
they
sure.
own NBC and all kind movie companies, you know, you name it. So I think from a standpoint of having a cable operator that is funded well, is good for this system. And again, we do deal with the subscriber complaints every now and then, but they've been excellent. I repeat, excellent at solving these issues in a timely manner with the resources they put forth in their escalation department. So I can say nothing but positive things regarding that. And there's some good, you know, just some good articles in general about where things are headed in the streaming world, and you know, a good article about ESPN being kind of in this predicament where they still have a good number of subscribers on traditional cable, and obviously they're trying to you know, do all this streaming stuff too. And it's just like, well, they can't necessarily abandon the cable side because that's like automatic money coming in for that. And so it's kind of this dilemma. It's a pretty long article, but it's interesting to see things were headed, because everything is going to the streaming world. You know, you only have to look at Netflix, Prime, and Disney Plus as an example of how successful they are, and just what's happening in the industry overall. And like I have said before, I am so thankful that years ago we decided to get into the kind of the internet streaming world, because that's where the viewers are for the most part. There's still people watching some appointment viewing here and there, but a lot of it is like, we're just in an on-demand world, and people just don't want to wait. They want what they want when they want it. So
That's for sure. Yeah.
so that really concludes the communications report, unless anybody has any, you know, questions about any of the items in there. I just don't want to take a lot of time on that.
Any questions from the commissioners? All right. Thanks, Mike. Next item is recognition of Mr. Blonigan.
Yes, let me share my screen here. 40 years ago.
Guy just bounces around, doesn't he?
Yeah, 40 years ago, a guy by the name of Bill Blonigan walked into the, well, actually at the time, let's see here. We had no building here, but Bill is one of the first guys I ever met. Between Bill and Jim Willis, who are currently on our board, those are the two people I met 40 years ago. And, you know, we just want to thank him today for his 40 years of service. We recognize board members in 5-year increments, and it just so happens Bill is the only one in this particular year, so he will really stand out. And we want to thank him for his service. He has served since 1981. Bill has had a major impact on the success of the Cable Commission and CCX Media. The cable system was not even built, and that's a fact. It was like the things were planned and all that, but there was no cable system. A lot of construction activity happened, you know, shortly thereafter over several years to build the cable system. Bill had served on serves an executive committee member and negotiating committee member, and he, along with Jim Willis, were you know, adamant about getting a very good and solid franchise agreement when we first started. And so, and it's great. We have, you know, an attorney in addition to Mike, you know, on our board. His legal mind has been very, very valuable in, you know, for various reasons over the years. And
Steel trap.
And I am deeply grateful for the excellent advice he's given me over the past 4 decades. And so we we just cannot thank Bill enough. And we have a nice little picture here of Bill. Still looks the same from 40 years ago. I'm telling you, he's
Hasn't
got
aged a bit. Amazing.
and that's the nice little plaque we will be giving him. So if anybody else wants to chime in here, Mr. Chair, I just am thankful for Bill's service.
Mike, Jim Willis here. Can I chip in a little bit?
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, back in the day, as they say, when we were first starting off and we were dealing with the first cable franchise, and then before long it was sold and we had additional opportunities to negotiate with various vendors. Bill always had his eye on the future, and I think that a large measure the success of our commission over these years was based on the foundation that he helped set back when we first got our first opportunity to negotiate a franchise. And he's never kept his eye or let his eye go off that vision. And as you kind of pointed out, I think our cable commission would be substantially different if he had not been so active and dedicated to promoting the public access that we have in our community. So yeah, my hat's off to him and his dedicated service. He's done a great job.
I comply greatly with that. Bill, it's been my pleasure to work with you the last 24 years since I've been on the commission. And so you've provided wise counsel to all of us, legal or non-legal. And so it's been just a pleasure for me to work with you. Your dedication is second to none. So greatly appreciate it. Any other commissioners? Okay.
So let me just say, if I can, Mr. Chair, it's been fun and educational to me to be doing this for the last 40 years. When I first got on the commission in February of 1981, I was 27 years old. I had a mustache, and I wore that to look older, and now I don't have one so that I look younger. And at various different times, and actually at every time, anything I did was just supplemental to what the staff did and what everybody else did. It's good to be able to chip in, as they say, once in a while with some good ideas, and I have had some good ideas. But I've always been just a little part of a great organization, an organization that's kind of known nationally as the type of an organization that it is. Not many different places throughout the nation have something like CCX that's as professional and winning and Eric Severide Awards, something I just keep saying we should brag more out. I don't know that people know that as much as they should. And Jim is right. We met in Bristol City Hall and had, I think, 18 votes to pick between 3 cable applicants that came along at the beginning, and it had to be unanimous. All 18 commissioners, 2 from each city, had to unanimously vote for who we voted for. And now that I think about it, that's 18, and maybe there were 12 rounds of voting before we got to a unanimous vote. And then I also remember, as Jim was talking about when he was the chair of the negotiating committee, that we 3 or 4 times flipped over from one cable company to another. The companies would buy the franchise or the right to do the franchise, and then they would sell it to somebody else. And they made hundreds of millions of extra dollars when they flipped over. And one time, a council member from Crystal was on the commission, Tom Ocker, and he made a motion that we take our first right of refusal and we buy and operate the franchise. And I was in a hurry that day, and I suppose everybody else was, because nobody seconded his motion. But I often think about, whoa, that wasn't very smart, because a couple of years later, the company that did buy it made a profit of over $100 million. It might have been $200 million. That would have been nice to split with our cities. But for the most part, the things we've done have been, you know, very, very correct. And so it's an honor to serve on this, and thank you.
Any other commissioners?
It was great working with you, Bill.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, number 4 under information items. Executive Director Retirement.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I had informed that this is not new information. I'm just making it, you know, official here, and we can save all the, you know, all the, anything for a later date. I'm going to be here for a while, so I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving today. I plan on being around for at least 5 or 6 more months. So, as previously mentioned, I've been here for 40 years. Starting in 2022 will be my 40th year. I started directly across the street. I can see the cable company building right here looking this way. Started in that building and that was built in the 1981-82 timeframe. And I was one of the first employees. I was transferred from a system in Fridley and started working out here, and we built studios. We got programming operations, public access. We had a whole bunch of different channels dedicated for a lot of different purposes. Many changes over the years. But I am just so thankful, and I'll say this again later on, for working with this board and the commission. I do feel we have, you know, one of the best community media operations in the country. I really do, and it is all because of what our founders did, that people early on in setting this thing up. I'm a firm believer there's strength in numbers. The commission has been strong. It is never wavered. There's been the 9 cities since day one, and that's a testament to the consortium as a whole, to the CCX Media Board, and you know, I do see a bright future going forward as well for this organization. So I will always be cheerleading in the background. Certainly going to miss this place. It's not going to be easy for me walking out these doors, but the time is right for me. It's a goal I've had, you know, many years ago. I said I want to retire by a specific age, and so I you know, thanks to this organization and supporting me, I am able to do that. So so I just want to again make that official in here, because I also said, you know, I'm going to be looking at retiring in April, and I did promise people the retirement date would not be on April 1st. So, but we'll get a date picked out at some point. So we can. I just want to thank everybody who has sent me really nice notes or have called me, and we don't have to take time today. So I just want to thank you for that.
Mike, thank you for everything you've done. Again, it's been enjoyable working with you for the last 24 years. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Bill. Or Al, I'm sorry.
Any other
Hey, Mike.
commissioners?
Mike,
Yes.
are you going to, what's the name of your show that you're going to come over and start volunteering making?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Maybe the Mike Johnson show. I don't know if people can stomach that though. I don't know if the Mike Johnson show will do too well in the ratings, but thank you.
Mike and Mike in the morning.
Yeah, there you go. Bring in the other Mike.
Congratulations, Mike.
Thanks, Emily.
So you're going to be at other cable meetings, so I won't say right now what I will say at the end, which is that since you came on, you figured out a way to save a lot of money and consolidate some positions and help us with our downturn in some of the revenue that we've had, and help us in replacing that revenue with your team. So I'm not going to say that now. I'll talk about that when you come to your last meeting.
Sounds good. Thanks, Bill.
Okay, anything else to come before the commission? If not, would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion's been
Second.
made. Is there a second?
Second.
Oh, roll call. Wendy?
Okay, Daryl Sanis,
Yes.
Isaac Harmar,
Yes.
Ann Norris,
Aye.
Therese Kaiser.
Aye.
Kimberly Sandberg,
Aye.
Roger Bergman,
Yes.
Al Matson,
Yes.
Phil Leith,
Aye.
Kirk McDonald,
Aye.
Mark Schultz,
Aye.
Riley Grams,
Aye.
Emily Kastner, Jim Willis,
Aye.
Bill Blonigan.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Have a nice day.
Marcia,
Ready when you are.
go for it.
Ready, Mike?
Ready.
All right, so I'm calling the Board of Directors meeting to order. We again have a note here about the reason that we are meeting online. I think that's all we need to say, so roll call.
Ann Norris,
Here.
Al Matson,
Here.
Kirk McDonald,
Here.
Riley Grams,
Here.
Emily Kastner,
Here.
Marcia Glick,
Here.
Janina Posner,
Here.
Daryl Stanis,
Here.
Mary LaHaye.
Here.
Mark Schultz is here too.
I'm sorry, how you came in late. Sorry about that, Mark. I'm working out here.
Okay, is that everybody? So the first thing we have is our consent items, the minutes and the treasurer's report.
Norris, move approval.
LaHaye,
second.
second. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor, do we have to do roll call on this?
Yep.
Right.
Okay,
Ann Norris,
Aye.
Al Matson,
Aye.
Kirk McDonald,
Aye.
Riley Grams,
Aye.
Emily Kastner,
Aye.
Marcia Glick,
aye.
Mark Schultz,
Aye.
Janina Posner,
Aye.
Daryl Stanis,
Aye.
Mary LaHaye.
Aye.
Okay, that brings us to the budget adoption. Mike, anything?
Madam Chair, nothing new, just what we said in the Cable Commission meeting. Again, the Budget Committee gave it a unanimous recommendation for approval, so we're just seeking approval from the Board of Directors.
May I say something about the merit-based pay that you're anticipating?
Of course, yeah.
Yes, please go ahead.
I've been in the business for years as craft and in different companies, 32 years with the phone company and then with Hopkins Center for the Arts. This is my take on it from the employee perspective. And through my time working there, that your best employees maybe, I made a list as your previous meeting was going on, so I'm just going to read through them. The best workers may be overlooked because they don't toot their own horns, they just do their jobs. Sometimes it's a popularity contest with the boss, who may be your introverted worker may be overlooked but they're invaluable to the company. And not everyone is good about expressing themselves orally or in written format and may say they're average when they're extraordinary. And in the management, which I've realized throughout my time, they just look for anything to change so they would get their bonus, but they never looked at the long-term effects. And sometimes they reverse stuff that worked just because they wanted to say, hey, I did this. And it also can cause animosity between the employees. So those are my opinions on that type of a situation. Not that it means anything. That's the most I've ever said in any of these meetings.
Well, always interested in hearing people's thoughts.
Not that it makes a difference, but I just don't like, yeah.
Okay, Mike?
Yeah, so we did get the approval for that then from the board. I'm sorry, in terms of
No, I'm enjoying Ann's cat, but
Sorry.
is there any other discussion or a motion?
I
This
would
is
move
Norris.
approval of the
I'll second. The cat and I will second the budget.
Roll call. Ann Norris,
Aye.
Al Matson,
Aye.
Kirk McDonald,
Aye.
Riley Grahams,
Aye.
Emily Kastner,
Aye.
Marcia Glick,
Aye.
Mark Schultz,
Aye.
Janina Posner,
Aye.
Daryl Sanas,
Aye.
Mary LaHaye.
If it includes the base pay, no. But from what I'm reading, that's gonna be addressed later.
That is
Right.
correct. That is not for, that actually would be effective in 2023, not 2022. So
That's
this
what
is the
I was
2022
assuming.
budget.
Right, so then I would approve the 2022. Because of the base pay's not involved in that.
Okay. Thank you. Information items?
Yes, Madam Chair. Oh, well, first off, we got the Board of Directors election update. So basically, we will be holding another election. Mary LaHaye will be ending her term, her 2-year term in December, and she has decided not to run again. Roberta Reindorf has another year on her term through 2022. So the election process is spelled out on the documents that I gave you. Our goal is to have the seat filled by the end of the year. And of course, whoever wins the election, this again is the position for the elected representative of the volunteers who do all the programming in the studio. And so we want to say a very big thank you to Mary, because this is her last meeting, and we will be getting a plaque for her. Mary is a very, very prolific producer, high level of commitment here. I see Mary all the time. We've had some great discussions. She's just an amazing producer. And so we look forward to working with her in the future as well.
Thank you to Mary. I expect we'll still keep seeing productions going forward.
Are you going to be still producing, Mary, for us?
I am at home. I don't have the guests that I used to bring in and doing the same thing that I was, but yeah, I had to reinvent during COVID. No
Thank
state
you.
fair events.
Thank you. Staff member recognition?
Yes, Madam Chair, very excited to do this. The board directors honor the service commitment also of staff in 5-year increments at our November meeting. We'll be having a separate staff recognition thing in December, but I just wanted the board and the commission to be aware and see these names, and we'll have some photos come up in a minute. But under 5 years, you're going to see this Devery Fost, who works in our sports and events department. These are sometimes the unsung heroes who are out there in very cold weather, sometimes rainy weather. I'm amazed. Sometimes I'll walk out the doors here, and as our big production truck is pulling out of the lot and it's windy and rainy, I'm going, oh my gosh. These guys are just like troopers out in the field getting these things done, and it's absolutely amazing. And so we want to thank Devery. And then Jonathan Likesett, who's he works with the city council crews. Again, we couldn't do it without all these part-timers who are filling in for all the council meetings we cover, park and rec, planning meetings, you name it. It's these folks who are behind the scenes doing all the gavel to gavel coverage. Delane Cleveland in the news department for 10 years. Many of you know who Delane is because you see him on TV, and I'll bring up his picture in a moment. And of course, Trudy Radnicki, who works in our Create department. And then for 15 years of service, and then 25 years of service, David Dobrin in the production department. David does a lot of the graphics that you see on air and does production work behind the scenes with anything done in the studio. And of course, Christopher Trudeau. So here are some of their pictures in the plaque. There's Devery that I talked about for his 5 years of service. Jonathan Likesett, 5 years of service working on council meetings. Delane Cleveland, one of our reporters now for the past 10 years, doing stories. Again, that will be definitely a recognizable face. Trudy Radnicki working behind the scenes with scheduling, helping out in the create department, doing a little bit of everything. We want to thank her for her 15 years of service. David Dobrin, a quarter of a century, he made it, 25 years. He's the guy in the control room, kind of like the Wizard of Oz, behind the curtain, making all these things happen. And anytime you see just about any graphic within a news story or a news program or any other productions that take place, it's David that makes that happen. So, and an expert at putting maps together when we're trying to identify places of where things happen. And of course, last but not least, one of our part-timers, Chris Trudeau, for 25 years of service of photography work, lots and lots of mainly sports photography. He's the one out on a cold football field or soccer field or in gymnasiums holding a heavy camera, getting highlight footage. So we're very happy about that, and we want to thank them for their service. I'll just move on to the next item. We have Give to the Max Day, which is actually today. And so we're going to experiment with today. We haven't been involved with the Give to the Max program. Last year, we did something towards the end of the year. I'll send everybody a link if you're interested in giving to our organization. I want to thank Tamisha Toure, who's actually a part of this meeting today, who put a lot of work together on this, working in connection with Dave and others to make this happen. Again, this is our first time at this. It will, over time, as we promote more in advance, I think it could be very successful for our organization. So we're anxious to start it out and then build over time. And so again, I'll send out a link for anybody interested in the Give to the Max. There's a little promotional piece about the program. And again, today is the day. So if you want to get online, you can certainly search for us if you simply go to Give to the Max and type in CCX Media, but I'll definitely send a link out a little bit later on. But without any further ado, I want to get right into staff reports, and I want to turn it over to Shannon Slatton for the news report.
All right, good morning, everybody. I wanted to quickly touch on, we had just wrapped up our election coverage. We tracked 4 races and 1 school district that had 3 questions, and we tried to present all of that information in a well-organized way that was easy to navigate and easy to find. You might be interested to know that what spread the best online, what people were sharing as far as views, was the Wayzata School Board race. Folks had some big feelings in that race. That one definitely had the most legs online. What people were searching the most for in Google when our stories would come up was the Golden Valley City Council race. And so that shows that people are looking for the content that we're putting together regarding elections, which we try to present as clear and unbiased as possible. So we have a bigger election next year, so we'll definitely be looking toward that. And then I just wanted to expound on 2 things at the very bottom of the page on that you never know the impact of the story, because I thought these were pretty neat. We had a librarian call the news department from West Boylston, Massachusetts. I had to look that up on a map. It's near Worcester.
Where's that?
And they were looking for some sort of initiative to do around Choose Love, which is something that came out of the Sandy Hook tragedy. And they found our story that we did in 2019 of a Robbinsdale resident named Patty Paulson, pretty visible member of the community. She drives the lipstick car in the local parades. But at any rate, she was taking campaign signs and repainting them with works of art. And the librarian thought that was really neat, wanted to talk to Patty. We were able to find Patty. She's moved out of Robbinsdale, and connect the dots there. So there's an entire initiative that's going to be happening in Massachusetts simply based on a story that we did and being able to connect those 2 people. And that was pretty neat. The other way we connected the dots that I thought was neat, in October, we reported on vandals who broke into the Silver Buckle Saddle Club out in Plymouth. That's a small organization that, to be honest, really struggles from year to year. They did not need this to happen. Someone who watched the story online recognized a bike helmet that was left behind. And they said, I know who that bike helmet belongs to. And they went and they talked to the parents of that kid. And then the parent and the kid came forward to the club and offered to clean it up and pay for the damages. And so that was pretty neat that we were able, if we hadn't have done that story for whatever reason on that day, I don't know if those dots would have been connected because there wasn't any surveillance video or anything like that. Excuse me. So I thought that was pretty neat that we were able to connect the dots on that story. And then I guess I always leave you guys with a pitch for ideas, and we are working on a series of stories from now to the end of the year, hopefully giving a little more profile to small businesses in our area, trying to talk about their survival stories during the pandemic, how they're surviving the worker shortage, and any creative ways they're doing what they have to do toward the end of the year. So if anyone has any ideas, please send them our way. It doesn't have to just be about retail. I know everybody's thinking retail right now, but there's a lot of great small businesses in our area, and we're always looking to feature those. So send an idea my way.
All right, thank you, Shannon. Any questions for Shannon? Perfect. We'll turn it over to Tim Gaffron for the Municipal Cities Report.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My report is in the packet. Just a couple of things to add to that. We continue to cover city meetings of all varieties, not just city council, about 30, 32, 33 a month on an average month. We did have extra meetings over the last couple of months with the candidates forums in September and October for the, it was a limited number due to the limited election year. And then some extra training sessions we did for City of Plymouth, Forum, League of Women Voters Forum, Golden Valley Diversity Committee. We covered a meeting for them, another meeting at Golden Valley, a 911 embedded social worker discussion. So we are busy running here and there and doing meetings that need to get covered. Most city meetings are back in person. However, a couple of them are still meeting virtually. Brooklyn Center is still completely remote. Osseo is going back to remote meetings here starting next week. And so, we kind of go with the flow on those. The other projects we have going on, upgrades to the Golden Valley City Council chambers, replacement of that audiovisual system there is ongoing. And as I indicated, we're experiencing some delays due to shipping. And I assume it's a microchip problem, like everything else in the world right now, that is delayed. So, we'll get the project done when we can based on equipment availability. We are working with a couple of member cities to incorporate more hybrid technology into their existing council chamber systems. So trying to adjust with the times, and new technology is coming out to accommodate this every day. And we rely a lot on consultants and vendors to help us wade through what's feasible and available for us to do that with. So I think that's all I have for now. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Right, Javier Cedillo from our Create department. Take it away, Javi.
Yes, I just wanted to start off from the top in our report is we have a new intern, Elliot Palmer, who has been helping us out the last few months. Sid, who was here before him, she was the intern for a few months, and which led her to different opportunities around CCX Media. So her internship ended. We got Elliot, who has been helping me out on Saturdays. And the most recent one was on Super Saturday, which I definitely needed some help, and he came in and helped me out the whole time. So I really appreciate the opportunity to have interns and just getting more assistance. And underneath that section, I have a section called Diversity Minute. We've been collaborating with Rashida Watts, Dr. Rashida Watts, who has been creating segments since September. So we've created 10 plus segments, each 1 minute long. And her discussion is about talking about diversity and equality. So that's something that we've been putting up on programming and on our social media. And underneath that, it's going to have some numbers there, which has been a beautiful quarter. Very happy with those numbers. The way things have been going with COVID and restrictions, we are still seeing a lot of people come in nonstop. In the bottom right, I have a new member here who has just been coming in constantly or calling me, asking if he could come in. And of course, I'm like, the doors are always open, so come on through if you like. So onto the top right, we had a Super Wednesday. I believe that was September, and it was just a fun time. We haven't had one since the beginning of COVID, and it was very exciting having that many people in. I believe we had somewhere around 7. Back in the day, it used to be 20, but I'll take any number and help anybody who is willing to come in, learn, and start creating projects here, which is very exciting. And I just wanted to mention was that I was given the opportunity to go to Wisconsin Community Media in Milwaukee, and it was such a good time talking to all their executive directors, coordinators in public access, and trying to figure out what they've been doing and how they've been succeeding in this environment of community media, and what are the steps that they've been taking to keep on bringing in volunteers, age ranges, and just making sure everybody's been having a good time. And I shared my stories, which everybody loves, and I love their stories. So, and also, yeah, I think that's it right there. So any questions, let me know.
Thank you. Any questions? Some really interesting things going on there.
Thank you, Javi. Let's move it over to Dave Kaiser to wrap it up and put a bow on all this. There's a lot going on. Take it away, Dave.
As always, good morning, everyone, and thanks, Mike. I'll highlight a few things on the 4 points that we have on the sheet that you had in your packet. The first is we obviously always follow our engagement numbers, and we try to see who is watching, how are they watching, what are some patterns. And obviously, from 2019 to 2020, we saw some tremendous growth. Website, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube viewers. And one of our goals and one of the things we're watching very closely is, are we holding on to those new viewers that found us in 2020 because of all of our great coverage with Shannon and the news staff and other things that were happening in 2020? And the answer is yes, we are seeing some tremendous hold of that growth and also continued growth. One of the main numbers I'll point out is in website users. In 2019, we had about 500,000 website users on an annual basis. That went up to 1.7 million in 2020. So you see the tremendous growth there. So on a regular curve, where does that go? Where would that have gone? Well, the great news is now in 2021, that number is 1.3 million is our estimate for the end of the year. So as you see, big growth over 2019, and we're holding on to many of those viewers from 2020. So that's good news. And we'll have more information on that as we move ahead. And that's some of our efforts as we look to the future as well, is how do we continue to grow the viewers that are using CCX Media. In the sports world, you note that we had many section and region champions in many sports in this area that went on to state tournaments. You see the picture there is the Wayzata volleyball team. Happy to report when we wrote this, we said they went into the state tournament undefeated. Happy to report they came out of the state tournament undefeated. So Wayzata was the champion in the state volleyball. We also had a state champion in cross country. And if you are interested in football, Mike mentioned the crews that go out in the cold. We'll have a crew going out in the cold tonight. The Maple Grove football team is playing in a football game this evening, and Cooper will be playing Friday afternoon. And if you want to stay up late, because of the high school league rules, we can't play those games live, but the Maple Grove football game will be played at 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. So if you want to stay up, you can watch the replay at 1 a.m. And then Cooper plays tomorrow at 2, and that will be replayed tomorrow night at 7 p.m. So hats off to the local teams. Always great for our sports staff to cover some great athletic teams in the area. Few other quick notes you see in the mayor's minutes. Always a great pleasure to talk to the mayors on a regular basis. We rotate one through each week to give updates of what's happening in the city. You see in the picture that the newest mayor, Lisa Jacobson from Brooklyn Park, has already been in a couple times to give updates to the community. And a final note, and this is happening today and also tomorrow morning, the Good Leadership Breakfast is something through Creative Services that we've mentioned. It is a local partner. They're based out of Edina, and they do some leadership type breakfasts. And we've been doing them in the studio during COVID, and happy to report that they are now set to jump out of the studio and go back to the Metropolitan in Golden Valley, where they had been holding these events. And they've asked us to come along and provide video services at the Metropolitan. So a great continuing partnership in Creative Services. And obviously that's something that helps us on the bottom line financially, as they do pay for all of the services that we offer. So great to see partners like that continuing. That's the report, Mike. Happy to answer any questions.
Well, thank you. Any questions?
Marcia, this is Daryl Sanis.
Hi, Daryl.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I just wanted to make a comment to Dave. I just wanted to give a shout out to the sports department. I love high school sports, and your coverage of volleyball, soccer, and football, along with the camera coverage and commentary, is excellent. And I'm watching events live and watching replays almost every day. And I just wanted to pass along this anecdote. I had one of the area high school football coaches tell me that they like being the spotlight game on Friday nights. First of all, because of the publicity it brings to their program, but also because the coaches, when they do their post-game film reviews, they use the CCX coverage rather than their own cameras because it's so much better. So that's a little anecdote for you, that they prefer the CCX coverage rather than their own because it gives them a lot more ability to study the game. So I just wanted to pass that on. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Daryl. I will pass that along to the crew. So they'll appreciate that.
Okay, that takes care of staff reports. Is there any other business?
Madam Chair, the only thing I want to mention is Tamisha put the link for the Give to the Max within the chat. So if anybody wants to grab that before signing off, you're certainly welcome to. And then we will send out an email as well if anybody is interested in giving to the organization. And then just a note to the Executive Committee of the Cable Commission. We have a meeting following this meeting. You have a separate link for that, which will start in a couple minutes here. So that's all I have, Madam Chair, and thank everybody for participating.
All right, thank you so much. We need a motion to adjourn and a roll call.
Norris, move to adjourn.
Madsen, second.
Moved and seconded, roll call.
Ann Norris,
Aye.
Al Mattson,
Aye.
Kirk McDonald,
Aye.
Riley Grams,
Aye.
Emily Kastner,
Aye.
Marcia Glick,
Aye.
Mark Schultz,
Aye.
Janina Posner,
Aye.
Daryl Sanis,
Aye.
Mary Holay. I'm sorry, Mary LaHaye.
Hi.
Hey, thank you, everybody.